Hi, welcome everybody. It's Gaz from GK Property Training Secrets. And again, I've got Joe Parker Liddle. We're going to talk about the architecture, planning and projects. What we've got is a bit of a series, and this is part 4 in the series, and it's about commercial conversions. Thanks again, Joe, taking more time out to just add value to you, to show you how to keep you safe, understand the processes and ultimately know the professionals that you need to go to. So thanks, Joe. Really appreciate your time.
You're absolutely welcome. Thanks for
Amazing.
having me.
No, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. What we're going to do is, again, I say we, it's Joe. Joe's going to do a presentation for you of a live project, so you get an appreciation of it. Hope you've enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the rest in the series. But again, if you need any help, just reach out to Joe. But Joe, over to you. Thanks very much. I'll let you start presenting now.
Okay. Hi again, everybody. Here we are for another instalment of architectural hacks on what we can do to make your projects more profitable for you. This time we are looking at commercial conversions. This is a vast field, same as with land, any kind of development project. There's so many bits and bobs to consider. So we're just going to do you a bit of a brief guide as to what to look for when you are viewing buildings for potential commercial conversions. I'm going to share my screen with you again, and then we'll do a live project and I'll tell you all about what we've done on this one. So this is the floor plan for a commercial city centre building not far from me in Derbyshire. And we were looking at converting this into apartments. Now, the first thing that you need to look at is, where are the windows? Any habitable room must have a window to comply with building regs. So this is something that you need to look at. And when you're working out if you can put residential units in there, if your building is too wide, for instance, how are you going to get light into the centre? I mean, yeah, obviously you can put some communal spaces there, for instance, corridors leading to your apartments. But if it's still too wide per apartment, you're limited to actually how many apartments you can put in there, because your living rooms, your bedrooms, anything that's classed as habitable needs to have a window. For instance, your bathrooms, utilities, they don't have to have a window. So you can put those rooms in the areas where there isn't light, but it's only a small part of the whole, floor plan. So you really need to make sure there's enough windows. As you can see with this particular building, the ground floor has only got windows in 2 sections. So this was originally a restaurant. You've got a shop front here, and you actually have a shop front on the side. The back of this building here, there are no windows at all, nothing. So that is limiting your space already. You couldn't put an apartment here, for instance, and one at the front, because that has no windows. So in this particular case, this ground floor is better left as a commercial unit or 2 units, because this can actually be split into 2 because there are 2 shop fronts here. So this is something that you need to think about. It's not always necessary to make the whole thing residential. Sometimes it is better to leave part of it still as commercial. On the upper floors, we've got a lot more windows. So this is where we actually looked at where we could fit apartments in. When you are looking at how many apartments you can fit in, you do need to look at national minimum space standards. Also, a lot of local authorities have their own minimum space standards. So consult those when you're working out how many apartments you can fit in. Now, your GIA, which is your gross internal area, you can split it into, how many apartments, for instance, for a 1-bed flat or a 2-bed flat. But you need to take 20% of that GIA for your communal space. So this is your corridors going in and out, stairs up and down to each floor. This particular building has an existing set of stairs here that actually would work perfect for these communal areas. So that's a little bit less refurb for us, but also it makes it easier to plan the rest of the building around it. Now, the other thing about this particular building is on the top floor, it's not actually on this plan that I've had surveyed, but there are roof lights on here. So if you don't have windows in the side walls, Is there a way you can put roof lights in? In a conservation area, that's something that you need to speak to the local authority about, because you may not be able to do that in a conservation area or on a listed building. So do your research, know exactly what's happening in that area, what the local authority's requirements are, and then you can work out what you can fit in. The other thing that you need to look out for when you're doing this research is, where is this building? If it is in the middle of an industrial estate, for instance, you're not going to want to put apartments in there. Nobody wants to live in that. Plus, also, you know, you might not be able to change that use under permitted development. Some of these buildings can easily be changed under prior approval, but that also depends on the area. So something that's got prior approval is obviously going to be much more feasible, easier to get finance for, and will make your life much easier. So if you can find that, absolutely, you know, go for it. City centres, there's a lot of conservation areas, a lot of listed buildings. So you might need to do your research and do a bit of a pre-application before you decide if you're going to go ahead with it or not. Now, the other thing that you need to ask yourself is, are there any other residential units nearby? For instance, you know, there may be student lets nearby, there may be a couple of other bits and bobs of residential, but you can use this to work out the gross development value. If you can work out your gross development value per square metre or square foot, then you can usually get the numbers right to work out if this is a profitable venture for you. Now, the other thing that I will show you on this is, this particular project already had planning on it, and it was for apartments upstairs. So ground floor would stay as retail, and they'd actually put apartments in and worked it out. The guys that did this, they actually made these 1-bedroom apartments massive. So it's not a great use of the space at all. I mean, we'll take this one for example. This 1-bedroom apartment here is 63 square meters. Now, you don't actually need that much space for a 1-bedroom apartment. Normally, for a 1-person 1-bedroom apartment, you only need 39 square meters. So this is a total use, that, you know, bad use of what you've got there. So make sure you get somebody that really does eke out the space and make sure that it works properly, not just for the occupants, but also for your investment. Because if you're not using your space properly, you know, you're not getting the value out of your project. So make sure you get your professional team on board and get them looking at this with you before you put any money down, before you make sure, you know, before you get your finance in place. And then you know that your investment's going to be all right. You know, as with any of our other videos, if there's anything that you need to ask, then obviously drop us a comment, leave us a message, and we'll make more videos for these for you. Anything that you want to ask about, you know, we'll make more info for you to look at and hopefully learn from. So thank you very much for listening again, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Joe. That's amazing. Totally appreciate it. Hopefully you're all ready now to go out there and do a commercial conversion. Hopefully you're going to go out there and make some mega money, but by doing it the right way. But thanks, Joe. Really appreciate your time. And as usual, if you want to find out more, please give us a comment in the group. But feel free to reach out to Joe directly, and Joe will help you out for sure. So thanks again, Joe. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks everybody for listening.